Easy access is the precise description of what has been available throughout the connection, not access in the boundary-violating sense, not access that was taken without permission or given under coercion. Easy access in the specific, relational, the door was always open quality of someone whose caring and whose availability and whose continuous, generous orientation toward the avoidant made reaching them a matter of choice rather than a matter of effort. The empath was reachable. Consistently, warmly, without the requirement that the avoidant demonstrate anything particular in order to receive the reacher's response. Available in the specific, unconditional, caring is the default quality of someone whose love did not require the avoidant's adequate reciprocation to remain operative. This easy access was not a failing. It was the genuine expression of the empath's most characteristic quality, the specific, deep, constitutively caring orientation toward other people's well-being that makes the empath the kind of person they are. The easy access was the caring made structurally real, the love expressed as availability, the specific empath natural quality of someone for whom warmth is the default and withdrawal requires more internal cost than the ordinary person's warmth does. But easy access, in the specific context of the avoidant dynamic, produced a specific consequence that the caring's genuineness did not prevent and could not prevent. It provided the avoidance management system with the background resource that the management's operation requires, the availability that the management could draw on without fully accounting for the drawing, the warmth that was always there when the management's distance creation had run its course and the return was sought. The open door that the management could walk through without the cost of having to first earn the walking through. The stopping of the easy access changes everything. What happens first, in the immediate aftermath of the empath stopping the easy access, is the management system's detection of the changed input. The monitoring system, which has been running its continuous, below-conscious assessment of the empath's orientation toward the avoidant across the entire duration of the connection, registers the quality change with the accuracy it brings to all significant relational inputs. The change is not the same as the empath being unavailable. The empath has not become cold or hostile or actively withholding. The change is more specific and more significant than unavailability. It is the change in the quality of the availability that remains. The access that previously required nothing of the avoidant now requires, not as a stated demand, not as a condition attached to the access, but in the specific, structural quality of the availability quality of someone who has genuinely shifted their orientation, something, not a performance, something real. The specific, genuine quality of the access having become contingent on the avoidant's genuine engagement in a way that it was not previously contingent. The door that was always open is still a door, but it is no longer the door of someone whose interior is organized around the avoidance approach. It is the door of someone whose interior is organized around its own genuine values and ways of being, and whose availability, however warm and however genuine in its caring, reflects that organization rather than the previous organization around the avoidant. The monitoring system reads this shift with a directness and an accuracy that the management's narrative frameworks cannot immediately accommodate. Because the narrative frameworks were calibrated on the easy access as a stable feature of the relational landscape. The narrative that the empath's availability was the dependable background resource, the warmth that could be returned to after the management's distance creation had run its cycle, required the easy access as its operational premise, and the operational premise has changed. The first thing that happens after the detection is the management's attempt to restore the previous configuration. Not through a conscious decision. The management does not make conscious decisions. It produces outputs in response to inputs according to its protocols. The protocol for the input of changed availability quality is the protocol for the management of a perceived intimacy pressure reduction. The avoidant reaches. Not in the full, management overcoming, genuine initiation form examined in the initiation piece. In the testing form examined in the testing the door piece. The calibrated, deniable, plausibly incidental contact that is the management's preferred method for assessing the status of a door it has registered as changed. The testing contact arrives with the specific quality of someone who is checking whether the previous configuration can be restored, whether the easy access has changed permanently or temporarily, whether the changed quality of the availability is the empath's response to a specific situation that will resolve when the specific situation has been addressed, or whether it represents a genuine, structural, this is different now change in how the empath is organized in relation to the avoidant. The testing is the management's attempt to produce the information that would allow it to recalibrate its operational framework, to determine whether the previous narrative, the one that treated the easy access as a stable feature, can be restored or whether a new narrative is required. And the specific quality of the empath's response to the testing is the information the management is most urgently processing. What the empath does with the testing is the most important moment in the entire sequence, not because the correct response produces the desired outcome. The framing of there being a correct response that produces the desired outcome is the framing that the honest examination of this situation requires most urgently to resist. But because what the empath does with the testing reveals more clearly than any other moment where the empath actually is in their own interior. The empath who responds to the testing from the genuine place, from the specific internally arrived at not performing anything place of someone who has genuinely shifted their organization away from the avoidant as primary reference point, responds from there, with whatever warmth is genuinely present and without the specific hoping activated quality that would indicate the testing has reorganized the empath's interior around the avoidance approach. The response is warm because the empath is warm. It is not extended beyond what the testing's content warrants because the empath's interior is not currently organized around extending the response in the hope of producing a particular avoidant behavior. The empath who has not genuinely arrived at the shifted organization, who has stopped the easy access as a strategy rather than as the genuine expression of a genuine interior shift, responds differently. The testing's arrival activates the hoping. The hoping reorganizes the interior around the avoidance approach. The response carries the quality of someone whose orientation has been restored by the testing's arrival, and the monitoring system reads the restored orientation with the accuracy it always brings to the genuine versus the performed. The genuine shifted organization is the only one that produces the specific management system challenging reading that the empath stopped easy access is most capable of producing. The performed stopped easy access, revealed by the testing's activation of the hoping, is read by the monitoring system as the performance it is, and performances are processed by the management, not by the interior. What happens if the empath's response reveals the genuine shifted organization, if the testing produces the monitoring system's genuine article reading, is the sequence examined in the initiation piece. The management's cost-benefit calculation shifts. The loss weight, combined with the genuine article reading of the changed availability's permanence, accumulates toward the threshold where the management's preferred output changes. The stages of the avoidance interior processing advance. The reckoning deepens. The genuine initiation becomes more possible. But this is not the reason to stop the easy access. And understanding why it is not the reason is the most important thing this piece can offer. The stopping of the easy access is not a strategy for producing the avoidance reckoning or the avoidance initiation or the avoidance genuine engagement. It is not a move in a dynamic. It is not the deployment of the empath's changed availability as a tool for producing a desired outcome in the avoidant. It is the honest, self-respecting, genuinely self-directed expression of someone whose internal work has produced the genuine interior shift, the shift away from the organization around the avoidant that the easy access expressed, toward the organization around the genuine self that the empath's own genuine interior always deserved to be organized around. The easy access stopped not because stopping it produces something in the avoidant. It stopped because continuing it was costing something in the empath. The specific, cumulative, never adequately acknowledged cost of having been the easier person, of having been the one whose caring required nothing of the recipient to remain operative, of having been the background resource whose availability was drawn on without the drawing being accounted for, of having organized the interior around the avoidance approach when the organization had always deserved, to be organized around the empath's own genuine life. The stopping is the beginning of the honest organization, the organization that says, my caring is real and it is not unconditional. My availability is genuine and it is not costless. My orientation is warm and it is not organized around your response to it. My door is open and it is not held open regardless of whether the holding is being met with anything that makes the holding worth what it costs. This organization is not cold. It is not the withdrawal of genuine caring. It is the caring's honest expression from the place where the caring is genuinely held. From the inside of a person who has a genuine relationship with their own worth and whose expressions of caring reflect that relationship rather than the previous absence of it. When the empath stops giving the avoidant easy access, this is what happens to the avoidant. The monitoring system detects the change. The management attempts to restore the configuration through testing. The testing produces the information about where the empath actually is. If the empath is genuinely in the shifted organization, if the stopped easy access is the honest expression of genuine interior work, rather than the strategic deployment of stopped easy access as a tool, the monitoring system produces the genuine article reading. The management's calculation shifts. The interior conditions for genuine engagement become more present, the reckoning deepens, the initiation becomes more possible. And this is what happens to the empath. Something returns. The specific, daily, self-generating quality of someone who is no longer spending the resource of their easy access on someone who is not accounting for the spending. The interior attention that was organized around the avoidance approach is freed for its own genuine objects. The caring that was being expressed as unconditional availability is freed to be expressed as the conditional, genuine, this is who I am and this is what I have to offer caring that reflects the empath's actual worth. The empath becomes, in the stopping of the easy access, more fully themselves than they have been across the duration of the easy access. And the becoming, the specific, genuine, not organized around the avoidant becoming of someone who is finally, honestly, fully in their own life, is the thing that matters most, whether or not the avoidance response to it is ever what either person hoped it would be.